What's going on, guys? Got another knife review here for you. This is of the SOG Trident. This actually isn't my knife. This is my friend's knife. We went on a camping trip recently, and so I brought a number of my knives there, and kind of sparked his interest. So he went out and got his first knife. So he bought this one. And so most recently he needed it sharpened, so I offered to sharpen it up on my Wicked Edge, and so I took this and then I lent him my Strider SNG CC just to get a different feel of a SOG Trident versus a Strider. And so I think he was pretty impressed by the feel of the Strider versus this knife. But let's talk about this knife and yeah, how it compares to the rest of them. SOG is a company. I've only had one other SOG. I've tried out the Vulcan, I think the Vulcan Mini, which was okay, VG10 blade steel, but I got a SOG Flash 2 for really cheap. And this is in the beginning stages of my collecting career, and yeah, I was not impressed by it at all. Aussate steel, and I think Aussate steel, and FRN handles, or I think what they call GRN handles. Basically, is basically a blown plastic, and then the deep ride pocket clip, the kind of the goofy big SOG name on here, and all that kind of stuff. It had the arc lock as well. Which is basically similar to that of the, I guess is not really similar to the axis lock, because the axis lock actually serves as the actual lock. So that barrel serves as the thing that engages with the tang of the, actually not the back of the tang of the blade, but on top of the tang of the blade. So that gets stuck with the, I think a stop pin. So that's, kind of stuck in between. The arc lock, actually, this is a, let's see if I remember, because I stripped this knife down to clean it out for him and re-oil it. It was a pain in the butt. And you can watch Cutlery Lover's video on the breakdown of it. I'm not going to break this down in video because I don't know, I don't want to put this back together. It was so painful. So many moving parts in this knife, it was just ridiculous. But anyway, so it's this lever right here. So there's a pin right here, and then a pin stuck on the locking mechanism. And so the torque of pulling the arc lock right here will pull a spring, a large spring right here, and then there's a bar that's connected to that spring. So that bar then engages, kind of like the Spyderco bolt lock on the Sage 3. So that lock, or that bolt, then engages on top of another stop pin that's right here inside the frame, and then that goes underneath that pin on top of the tang of this blade, if that makes sense. So you got this bar compressed by a stop pin and then the tang of the blade. So it's definitely a strong enough blade, but again, you're talking about so many moving parts in here. So it's got that, it's got the safety, and then it's got the assisting mechanism, which is a coiled spring. A really just tiny, not tiny, but a weak, thin spring around the pivot, which is an absolute just pain in the butt to put together. So I hated putting this thing back together. But hopefully that bias won't hurt the review too much. Again, Aussate steel, dual thumb studs for left and right deployment. Yeah, so it's completely ambidextrous. You can just rotate this, pocket clip the other side. You've got this seatbelt or inherent seatbelt cutter, or fishing line cable cutter. Because the blade sits in there, it's pretty much impossible for your finger to get in there. It's small enough. I don't even think a kid's finger could get in here, so you're pretty much safe from anything. But again, any kind of paper that gets caught in there, I think would, well, assumedly a seatbelt, I don't know, I think you could just be able to grip like this and then cut through something. Let's try that again. I don't know. Maybe you need something a little more. Let's try this little cable right here. Yeah. So yeah, it works. That worked. So anyway, it is what it is. I guess it kind of works, but it's kind of maybe a little bit gimmicky, if you will. Safety, basically you put it up or down. No, you put it down, and then it engages. Basically, it's a little lever that engages into the lock right here so that it won't allow for deployment, but it's really loose. So it doesn't click like, you know, a Benchmade safety where, you know, you can push the thing over there and it actually clicks in there and locks in. This is just a very light lever. So you just see how loose that is. So I don't know, not exactly a well executed safety if you're going to put it on there. I don't think you need it because it actually takes quite a bit to. And then yeah, I mean, just that I put it in, and then my hand kind of just brushed along it, and then it was deployed. So kind of a lame design. I don't really like it. Overall, the handle fits fine. The jimping on the GRN, it's functional. It's, you know, I can still roll my thumb on there. You got a little bit of jimping on the back right here. And then jimping on the underside, the underbelly. This is actually probably the most aggressive jimping on the knife. Actually, I'm sorry, the blade has a really aggressive jimping. But for the handle, and then you got this texturing on the handle of the GRN as well. That really, I don't know, maybe it's more just for aesthetics or something. I think it's more functional this up and down versus side to side, because it's kind of like long diamond patterns. If you can, yeah, you can see it right there. So it's long diamond patterns. So again, it kind of serves like rough G10 this way, but then this way, because it's so, you know, they're longer pattern, kind of just your finger can just brush alongside it. Pocket clip has good retention, very deep carry. In fact, goes beyond the handle of the knife in your pocket. So if you like that, that's fine. Personally, I really hate the SOG clip. I've seen so many get snagged and then just bent out of shape and all that kind of stuff. Large lanyard hole as well, if you want that for your blade. Overall, then the jimping on this side is really, really hard cut. It's basically, it's like they took the saw and they just cut on, you know, two sides. Very unrefined, you know, not polished at all. And so, you know, if you want jimping to serve its purpose, it'll serve its purpose. It'll just cut into your thumb. Like this, just this little bit of pressure really hurts. As opposed to, you know, say a tenacious, you know, this jimping is much better. It's cut much better. It's got a thumb ramp, you know, so I feel like it functions better. On the paramilitary right here, again, this jimping is perfect on these knives right here. Got the thumb choil and all that kind of stuff. It all works great. The jimping actually on the 760 is actually similar to the SOG. It's a little bit more rounded though. You can see how it's rounded out, not like teeth. So if you look at this one, it's just like teeth. Really, really sharp cuts for that jimping. And then for the Sebenza, I mean, just forget about it. You look at the details on this jimping right here. There's like all these different cuts on this jimping, you know, and it works great. It feels good when it's on your thumb, you know. So again, but you're talking about a $400 knife versus, you know, pretty much what can be had around $50 or $60 for this knife. You know, ergonomics, again, it's going to be good. After fixing up this knife and oiling it up, it fires well. Right now, no blade play side to side. Maybe a little bit if you force it. up and down, there's actually plenty of blade play on here. I guess the thumb studs are what acts as the, I think, as the blade stop. I'm actually not sure, but it's metal on plastic or GRN, so it's not, doesn't seem like it's going to be very functional. But you do have the pin or the bolt that's in on here, so that's going to add to some security for this knife. So it's not going to fail on you, but it does wiggle. So again, you're talking about a retailed at $100 knife versus all these knives and all that kind of stuff. At that price point, honestly, I would get the paramilitary with the S30V, you know, with camo G10 or black G10. Just a far superior knife, far more capable knife. I think this is 3.6 or 3.7 inch blade, 0.125 inch blade, like an Emerson or like a Sebenza in terms of blade stock. But again, AUS 8 compared to Spyderco's heat-treated S30V, I mean, you're definitely going to get a way better knife and quality knife, you know, from Spyderco, an ergonomic knife, I think, just overall for utility and all that kind of stuff. This knife, and I think stronger as well with the compression lock versus this arc lock and all that kind of stuff. So overall, I mean, I'm just not a huge fan of SOG. Pretty much all the knives that I've tried by them have been less than impressive, and not just after, you know, having so many knives. I think even in the beginning stages with the Flash 2 and with the Vulcan, I was never impressed by their knives. So I think this, you know, the Trident was one, I think basically because of the look I thought was going to be cool when I was first getting into collecting. Now after handling this one, definitely less than impressed. The grinds on here are pretty nice. You got a hollow grind, actually a pretty steep hollow grind. Slices pretty well. Tanto tip, you know, the tip is relatively thick. But again, if you're gonna get AUS 8, I would go with the cold steel, because I've heard their heat treat on their AUS 8s, and you know, with the Demco gosh, what's their lock called? I forgot. Man, it's totally slipping me, but you guys know what it is. Their back lock. Oh gosh, it's gonna kill me. But anyway, the cold steel Demco lock. Golly, that's killing me. But I would go with that. So I'm actually planning on maybe getting a Raja 2 and the American Lawman to try out. Definitely wanting to try out those knives, and yeah, so I think it's going to be a much better choice than the SOGs. All right, so anyway, quick look at the SOG Trident. Overall, again, I would much rather go with the Tenacious or the Paramilitary 2. Much better choices in my opinion. All right, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in our next vid.